Nope. Hold on. Hey y'all, and welcome to a new episode of Talkin With Taylor. Today I am joined by two-time Tony nominee and overall Broadway veteran Brad Oscar, and I am so excited to be sitting here with you today and chatting.
Thank you. Right back at you.
Let's start from the beginning. Where were you born, Brad?
I was born in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Yes. Yes, born and raised right outside of D.C. Yes, and that's all we need to talk about Washington, D.C. right now, probably for the best.
Yeah. So what got you started in the theater?
I always loved it. I don't know. It really, I think it was just always a part of my DNA. My parents were theater goers and had done some community theater when they were younger and when I was a kid as well, so I was exposed to that. They took me to the theater at a relatively early age. And yeah, and I started, taking classes, doing the thing, putting on shows in the basement, the whole, very classic and traditional as far as that went. Doing shows in school and, and stuff outside of school too. Yeah, so there was never anything else I wanted to do.
Well, let's talk about one of those early theater experiences. Am I correct that the first Broadway show you saw was at the St. James Theater?
Exactly.
Which would play a wonderful role in your life as you would then go on to be in the production of The Producers and later on Something Rotten.
Yeah.
Which our audiences are familiar with because Something Rotten, the national tour, was here last year.
Yes.
And I know personally it was my favorite show of the season last year here.
Oh, great.
And you originated the role of Nostradamus, which is also my favorite role, not just because you're sitting here, I would tell you otherwise.
Okay.
But in that amazing show, which is so well written and so, with it. So, you sing that iconic song, A Musical, which is full of all these wonderful kind of theater geek references,
all the
if you will.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite reference or favorite moment in that song?
In a musical? Oh, wow.
To choose from.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was such a bear of a number, but really so joyous to do because, the show itself is a celebration of musical comedy and of that style. But that number in particular, of course, is an explosion of all of that. So I don't know if I had a favorite part. I guess sort of honestly, one of my favorite parts is when the ensemble would join us on stage, me and Nick Bottom, and they sort of tap on and the orchestra starts to swell and we're heading toward a big dance break and a big tap break and again, a very traditional classic sort of thing. And that always still gets me. I always still feel that and, that internal, that excitement and that I get chills just talking about it because, there's nothing more thrilling to me anyway, to see something like that, much less be on stage and be a part of it.
Right.
So, it was pretty joyous.
Such amazing energy. I mean, it was, Something Rotten was a really megawatt hit. And, I think anybody who was anybody saw it. Did you have any starstruck moments? Did anybody come out and see that?
Well, the best was Rupaul. Rupaul loved it, and Rupaul came back 2 or 3 times to see the show. Rita Moreno came back twice to see the show. We had plenty of celebrities who would come, but people who would come back, that's the ultimate compliment. That's the ultimate, wow, they really did enjoy this. They brought their friends and they brought their family or whatever.
And a moment with Mama Ru, huh?
Yeah. It was pretty special.
Not
at all. And I got to stay.
Right.
She said, Shantae, I could stay. Yeah.
So let's talk about The Producers. And so The Producers was, you were part of that original Broadway run, and it actually made its way to Starlight stage, and you were here.
Yeah, and I got to do it here as well.
So it's kind of a wonderful little full circle moment as you're coming back.
Yes.
And do you have any favorite memories from going around with The Producers?
Well, again, another, very similar to Something Rotten, which was interesting in the sense that we played the same theater in New York. And when I did The Producers, that was my first lead role in a show in New York, my first principal role, if you will. So to be a part of that production with those people, with that creative team, and Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick, and was just, every dream I ever had. And then to put that show before an audience and get that exchange of energy was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. And I pretty much figured at the time, well, this will never happen again. This is so special. I've never experienced anything like it as an audience member, much less. And then, flash forward, whatever it is, 15, 16 years later, back at the St. James Theater, and Something Rotten had that very similar effect on an audience. And again, that exchange of energy, their joy and their excitement, which totally feeds us. So yeah, it's ironic that they both had that similar sort of feel. And but yeah, as far as like favorite, that's always so hard for me because the experience, I did the producers for over 5 years between Broadway and on tour, and then I got to go to London and do it for a couple months, which was crazy because I never dreamt about going and performing in the West End. I dreamt about Broadway, but to be able to be over there and work in that city with an English cast was really very special as well.
So now that you're back on Starlight stage, is there anything you're excited about to be back in Kansas City?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great city, great food, great theater.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed, because a lot of this company is local. So, they work all the time around here. And I love the fact that, throughout the country, there are these cities that you wouldn't necessarily expect have a vibrant theater and art scene. And having been here before, I know that Kansas City is indeed one of them. So
let's talk about Hairspray. Let's jump in. What was your first kind of passing in the night with Hairspray? When did it first kind of come into your life?
Hairspray opened a year after the producers had opened on Broadway, and it was a lot of the same producers. I'm not sure there was any crossover there, but anyway, I was at the invited dress rehearsal for Hairspray before it started previews in New York. They had been out of town. Maybe they went to Seattle, I forget. So I was there at the invited dress, which is always an exciting performance to be at, because it's all, friends and family and industry folks, and everyone's very excited to see the show, to be the first in New York to get to see it. And yeah, I mean, I loved it. It was so much fun, and that cast was amazing. And so yeah, and then I saw it a couple more times over the course of its Broadway run, and had always thought that it would be a role that I might like to tackle. But sometimes with these iconic roles, if you will, and certainly, you have Divine in the original film, and then you had Harvey Fierstein take it and do his thing. So that, gets in my head just from seeing him do it several times, the cast album, all those things. So it's been a bit of a challenge to get that out of my head, do my thing, find my Edna, if you will. But what I'm really impressed by now, actually working on the piece, is how well it is written, how well it is structured, what it has to say, and all of that. And when you get to sort of, get into the nitty-gritty of it, that's what separates, I think, really good, solid musical theater from just an entertaining evening that maybe doesn't have more to say or isn't going to leave you with something to,
And it's a wonderful message of inclusion, of diversity, of everything, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
everything.
It's
and
very
just
important right now. I think.
Oh, more than ever. To just celebrate the things that we do share.
Let's talk about Edna. It's a massive role.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
No pun intended.
What are you most excited about the role, and what are you most afraid of?
Oy, oy, oy. Well, I'm most excited about tackling something very new for me as a performer, because I've never performed in drag. I've never played a character quite like this, needless to say. I'm usually cast in male roles. So I'm very excited about the challenge of letting myself, being open to that, finding the feminine aspects of my persona and channeling them into Edna. But not playing a woman. I think that's the trick with this role. It is a man in drag. It should be a man in drag. We don't necessarily know why it is, and except that John Waters is John Waters, and Divine was his muse, and Divine played these roles in several of his films, needless to say. So I'm just trying to, again, find what that's going to be for me. But I think the trick is not to go out there and think, oh, I'm playing a woman now. No, I'm playing a mother, I'm playing a parent. And those emotions and those objectives aren't necessarily sex-based in that way. So yeah, I'm loving having that challenge. And I guess that probably is the thing that also scares me the most, is, what it's going to be. Plus, let's face it, we do this in a very tight window of time. And usually as an actor, you have several weeks to rehearse, and then maybe a week or two of previews, and then you open, and then you get to run, And needless to say, things do settle and develop as you have more time. We've got to sort of work, pretty quickly. We have an extraordinary company since a lot of this company is very young, which makes me feel very old, but God bless, these kids they are learning that music right away. They are learning those parts. They are dancing, and that energy is fantastic and so exciting. But yeah, you have to dive right in because we don't have the time to do a lot of the actor work, the character exploration, all that stuff that you would normally do. But I think, again, being familiar with the show and bringing to it that knowledge and having seen the film recently, just to brush up the original film. Yeah, I feel like we're going to be ready. We're going to get there.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Hairspray, it has a really kind of wonderful undertone about family as well, and relationships. Let's talk about your family a little bit. Your husband, Diego.
Yes.
Tell me about the significance of the show Damn Yankees
Yes.
and Arena Stage.
Yes. Well, going back, if you want to really go back, I will never forget, because it was one of the first professional productions I ever saw. I believe it was the summer of 1972. All the big stars would still take out their shows for this summer circuit, and some of them were outdoor theaters. Sure. And I saw Ray Walston and Gwen Verdon do Damn Yankees on tour one summer. I think it was, like I said, 72. So the show has always meant everything to me. It was one of my first experiences. I wore out my parents' album of Damn Yankees. And so then I find out it's going to be done in D.C. I had never worked professionally in D.C. because I had gone away to go to school in Boston, and then I moved to the city, to New York. And so anyway, I get to go home and do this production of Damn Yankees, which I'm very excited about, and playing the devil, and because the show means so much to me. And wouldn't you know, Diego was also in the company, and we met, and one thing led to another, and and we've been together ever since. It's been 12 and a half years, almost 13 years.
And you went back to get married on that.
We did, and that was, which was very special. From the time that we did Damn Yankees until the time that we got married, Arena Stage did a huge renovation, and there were 3 separate stages that you had to enter from outside. They enclosed everything under one big glass dome. It's gorgeous now, and now everything you can enter from this center, beautiful lobby area, and now they can have events. So we saw that, and little by little, we're like, we're going to get married, which was a very gradual thing. It's so funny. We always said, who asked who? No one asked anything. It just sort of happened. But we were able to get married at Arena Stage and be married by Molly Smith, who's the artistic director, who directed Damn Yankees. And because we're both from D.C., it's a great thing because all of our families are there. And he's extraordinary. He is also a very talented guy, beautiful voice. So it's a very special place for me, that Arena Stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I have 3 last questions for you, Brad, that I like to end the show with. Philosophical questions, if you will.
Dear. Okay, here we go.
Brad, what is your biggest success?
Oh, that's a hard question. Wow. Feels like a trick question, right? What is my biggest success? I would say my relationship with Diego. I would say, learning to love and accept love and not judge, and all those things that come with, I think, hopefully being in a good, solid relationship, connective tissue to another person, and family as well, I think.
Do you have any regrets?
Oh, regrets. I've had a few. Do I have any regrets? I guess I regret that I didn't really fall in love with going to the gym at an earlier age, because now it's, not really, because I guess, again, you get to a certain point in your life and things play out, and I've been very blessed. I'll be the first one to tell you that I have been very blessed because, making it in this profession is not just about talent. There's random things, it's who you know, there's so many things, it's all very subjective. Mm-hmm. So I have been very blessed. So I've learned that things that happen or don't happen, things that you think, this is going to be great, or wouldn't that be wonderful, or, and then it's so disappointing if I don't get the role, or if this doesn't happen, or that doesn't happen. But I wouldn't be sitting here with you today now if something else had happened, if a different, so yeah. So no, I try not to, I don't think I have any big regrets. I mean, I have little regrets, like not having seen a certain show perhaps, or oh, I shouldn't have said that, or whatever. But yeah, no, in general.
Last question. What are you most thankful for in this moment?
Gosh, I feel like it's going to be the same as the first answer in a way. I'm most grateful for, my husband and my family. The people that ground you, especially in the crazy world that we're living in, when it's so easy, I think. There's so much noise. Mm-hmm. There's so much noise. There's so much talk going on. There's so much, and what ideally grounds me, and I hope grounds a lot of us, is, again, the connective tissue and how we all are just trying to survive. We're all just trying to get along and make our lives, and ideally how you treat your fellow man is, as important, I think, as anything else. And I feel like right now we've lost a little bit of that. And so yeah, I am grateful that I have people in my life who ground me in that way and are able to bring me back to what really matters. Because again, of all the chatter and all the stuff going on.
And I think that's the exact message of Hairspray.
Yeah, well, again, how wonderful to do a play that, is all about that.
Yeah.
Is lovely and joyous, yeah.
Well, I can't wait for our audience to see it,
Yeah.
to see you in this wonderful role.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
Thank you. It's going to be great.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Talkin With Taylor. For more videos like this, follow us on social media at KC Starlight and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/KC Starlight. Hairspray plays Starlight Theater July 27th through August 2nd. Get your tickets at kcstarlight.com.